nothing is as offensive to our spiritual ego as the message of the infinite self. You see, the spiritual ego will fight for its existence, will fight for its survival. And it can only survive in the perception and in the belief that it has a relationship with God, that it has a relationship with Christ. The emphasis is on the word with. It never uses the term as, right? So, yeah, I experience this opposition a lot from people who have a relationship with God. And the opposition comes from their spiritual ego that they're not aware of, right? You see, my message is the message of the infinite self. The infinite self is God. And the infinite self does not have a relationship with Jesus or with Christ or with God, because the infinite self is those things, right? So that being said, Jesus, the story of Jesus or Yeshua in the Bible, was meant to convey the message of the infinite self. That's why Jesus used the phrase I am when speaking of himself. You see, Jesus did not have a relationship with Christ. Jesus understood that he was the Christ. He was the infinite self in human form, right? But Christianity, Christianity, those who walked with Christ did not understand what Jesus was referring to. And so they started worshiping Jesus. They started worshiping the Christ as something apart from themselves. That's not the message that Jesus came to bring. Jesus did not want you to have relationship with him or with Christ. Jesus wanted you to realize that you are the infinite self, that you are the infinite I am. Right? Jesus had the awareness of that when he said in one of the scriptures, when they were accusing Jesus of making himself equal with God, and when Jesus said, before Abraham was I am, Jesus was speaking from his infinite self-consciousness. That part we understood, and we declared him God. We did not understand it for ourselves because we are behind the veil of our ego. We're behind the veil of our spiritual ego identity, the spiritual ego that wants to have a relationship with Jesus, that wants to have a relationship with Christ, instead of recognizing the Christ as yourself, right? So this is where I am going to be clashing, and this is where Jesus was clashing with the spiritual egos of his day. And I make no apology for my message. I make no apology for my perception and awareness. This perception is important to be seeded into the world, because as long as we identify with any type of ego, whether that be the atheistic, the secular, or the spiritual ego, you're going to have factions and wars, because that ego is going to fight to the death of another, to maintain its identity, right? And that fight can only be eliminated when ego is crucified, when ego submits to the reign of the infinite self I am, which is your true identity. Until you have that epiphany, you will oppose this truth and all those who bring it.